What if it happened? Really? What if tomorrow a law came into effect? Not a suggestion, not a subsidy, but a hard global mandate. Every new car sold must be electric, and within 5 years, every gasoline-powered vehicle must be off the road, scrapped, recycled, gone. Imagine the sound of that first year. You're standing on a street corner in a city, any city, New York, Tokyo, Lagos, São Paulo. It's raining. The sky is a flat, bruised gray. You can hear the hiss of tires on wet asphalt, the frantic clicking of a pedestrian signal, the distant siren. But something is profoundly wrong. The deep, guttural rumble of the city, it's gone. The growl of a diesel truck, the roar of a bus pulling away from the curb, the layered hum of thousands of idling engines, it's all been erased. The city has lost its voice. In its place is a new sound, a quiet, insect-like hum, the high-frequency whine of thousands of electric motors spinning in a sound you feel in your teeth more than you hear with your ears. It's the sound of the grid, the ever-present, low-level thrum of a planet plugged into itself. It's the sound of silence, weaponized. Hello there. Settle in. Welcome back to Divergence Point. It's good to have you here. Take a moment, wherever you are right now, just listen. Can you hear the traffic outside? The sound of a car passing by your window. It's a sound so common, so deeply embedded in our lives. We've learned to ignore it. It's the background radiation of modern life. Now, imagine it's gone forever. Does that sound like peace to you? Or does it sound like a different kind of noise? If you enjoy thinking about these strange new futures with me, you know what to do. A little click on the subscribe button helps this signal travel a bit further through the noise. We appreciate it more than you know. Let me know in the comments what time it is where you are. I'm always curious to know where our little late night conversations are ending up. We've all been sold the dream, haven't we? The clean, green, electric utopia. Gleaming cars gliding silently through spotless cities. No more smog, no more oil wars, no more greasy, coin-operated air pumps at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. It sounds pleasant, civilized, even, but let's be brutally honest with each other. A world where every car is electric, not by choice, but by law. It wouldn't be a utopia. It would be an absolute, unmitigated logistical nightmare. A quiet, buzzing, perfectly regulated hell. Because this isn't a story about a cool new piece of technology. This is a story about infrastructure, about power, and I don't just mean the kind that comes out of a wall socket. This is a story about control. Let's call it the global mobility mandate. It sounds sterile and bureaucratic, which is exactly what it would be. Passed by a consortium of governments after another series of climate-related disasters, it's hailed as humanity's great leap forward, the final decisive victory over the fossil fuel era. Politicians give soaring speeches. Tech CEOs grace the covers of magazines, looking like modern-day saviors. There are commercials showing happy families plugging their sleek, silent cars into charging stations that look like minimalist sculptures. But you and I, we're not in the commercials. We're in the messy reality of day one. The first thing we have to understand is that the car itself is no longer the product. It's just a shell. A very expensive subscription box on wheels. The real product is the network, the operating system, the endless stream of data flowing from your car to a corporate server farm in another country. Think about your phone. You buy the hardware, but Apple or Google owns the ecosystem. They push the updates. They approve the apps. They can, with the flip of a digital switch, turn your $1,000 device into a paperweight. Now, apply that model to your ability to move. Your new car, let's say it's a bland, state-approved sedan called the Unity, because, of course, it doesn't have a key. It has an aplicativo. It requires a verified digital ID to operate before you can drive to the grocery store. You have to agree to version 11.3.4 of the terms and conditions, a 40-page document you'll never read. The horror isn't in some fantasy technology. It's right there in the fine print. You no longer own a vehicle. You are a licensed user of a mobility service. And like any service, your access can be restricted or revoked. Forget the grand cinematic conspiracies for a moment. Let's talk about the mundane bureaucratic terror. Your registration is a week late, access denied. You have an unpaid parking ticket from 3 years ago that's been digitized and attached to your global ID. Access denied. You've exceeded your monthly carbon allowance for non-essential travel. Access denied. Admit it. You've probably got an old ticket you forgot about somewhere. In our current world, that might get you a boot on your tire. In this new world, your car just doesn't turn on. There's no one to argue with. No rusty lock to break. Just a cold, silent error message on a screen. And that's the fundamental shift, the true divergence point. For over a century, the automobile, for all its flaws, was a symbol of autonomy. A full tank of gas was a promise of freedom. You could, in theory, just drive away from your problems, away from the grid, away from everyone. It was your private kingdom of steel and glass. That kingdom is gone. Your car is now a node on the network, a publicly traded, data harvesting, subscription-based node. It's always online. It's always reporting your location, your speed, your driving habits, even how much you weigh based on the pressure sensors in the seat. For safety and performance optimization, of course, the silence of the electric city isn't the sound of peace. It's the sound of perfect, frictionless surveillance. It's the quiet hum of a cage being built around you, one software update at a time. And this brings us to the first and most important piece of hardware in our new world. It's not the car, it's not even the battery, it's the plug. That standardized state-mandated port that connects your vehicle to the grid. It's the umbilical cord, the digital leash. Who controls that plug? Who sets the price for a kilowatt hour at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday? What happens when a solar flare, a cyberattack, or just a simple, boring blackout takes down the grid in your sector? A gasoline car with a dead battery is an inconvenience. An electric car with no power is just a 4,000-pound brick, and you're trapped inside. Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. Let's play this out. You're on your way home. It's a Thursday. The sky is that bruised purple color. It gets just after sunset. You're in traffic, but it's moving, not the frantic, angry crawl of the old days, but a smooth, flowing current of silent metal. You're listening to a podcast. Your car's internal climate is a perfect, hermetically sealed 72 degrees. It's comfortable, it's numb. You're halfway across a bridge. Maybe the Golden Gate, maybe the Akashi Kakio, maybe just a concrete overpass above a forgotten railway line. It doesn't matter. You're suspended between work and home, between the sky and the water below. And then it happens. It isn't loud. It's the opposite of loud. The soft, ambient hum of your electric motor, a sound you've trained your body to ignore, simply stops. It vanishes so completely, so suddenly that the silence that follows feels like a physical blow. Your podcast cuts out. The dashboard, a vibrant sea of friendly blue light, goes dark. The only illumination is the dying light of the sky through your windshield. Your car coasts for another 50 feet. Your sense of momentum bleeding away into nothing, then a gentle stop. You check your phone, no signal, of course. The car's network antenna, which boosts your personal signal, is dead with the rest of it. For a moment, it's just a personal problem, an annoyance. You try to restart the car. You push the button, nothing. You hold it down, nothing. You look for a hazard light button, a relic of a bygone era they kept for nostalgic reasons. You press it. It's a dead piece of plastic. And then you look up through your windshield. You see the car in front of you. It's dark. Its lights are out. You glance in the rearview mirror. The river of headlights that was tailing you is gone. It's just a chain of dark, silent shapes. You look to your left, to your right. Every single vehicle on this 6-lane bridge is dead. This is the moment the psychological horror begins to curdle in your stomach. It's the realization that you are not just stranded. You are part of a massive systemic failure. Everyone is... Remember all those old action movies? The hero, in a moment of crisis, smashes the ignition column, slaps two wires together, and roars off into the night. We grew up with that. The fantasy that, with a little grit and know-how, you could tame the machine. Admit it. Wouldn't that feel good right now? The ability to do something, but you can't hotwire a software license. You can't jimmy a corrupted firmware update. You have no more control over this 4,000-pound steel box than you do over the tide. You are not a driver. You are a user whose session has expired. You try the door. Thankfully, there's a manual release, a little lever hidden near the floor, a concession to safety regulations the engineers probably hated. It opens with a clunk. A cold wind hits you, carrying the metallic smell of the bay. You step out onto the asphalt, and you witness the birth of a new kind of landscape. The bridge is a graveyard, a museum of motionless sculptures. People are starting to get out of their cars, their faces lit by the pale glow of their phone screens. They're looking around, their expressions a mixture of confusion and a low, simmering panic. The silence is the most unsettling part. No engines, new horns, just the wind and the quiet, anxious murmur of a few hundred human voices, a sound that doesn't carry. What do you have with you? Think about your car right now. What's in it? A half-empty water bottle? A forgotten protein bar in the glove box? An umbrella. That's your survival kit. That's all you have to face the next 12 hours. Because no one is coming. How could they? The tow trucks are electric. The police cruisers are electric. The ambulances, the fire trucks, they're all running on the same dead grid that you are. They are all parked, dark, and useless in their stations. The infrastructure of rescue has been paralyzed by the very thing it was meant to overcome. This is the beautiful, terrible fragility of a perfectly integrated system. When it works, it's flawless. A silent, efficient utopia. But when it breaks, it doesn't just bend, it shatters completely. Every single component fails in unison because every component is dependent on the same single point of failure. The grid, the sun is gone now. The bridge is truly dark. You're standing in the middle of a major artery of a global city, and it is as silent and dead as a Roman road. The psychological claustrophobia becomes real. The car is no longer your private space. It's a cold, metal trap. The bridge is no longer a path home. It's an island, and the water is rising. And the deepest, most chilling thought begins to form in the back of your mind. This wasn't a blackout. A blackout is when the power stations fail. This was different. The cars didn't just lose power. They were switched off, as if by a single hand on a single switch. It wasn't an accident. It was an order. An order to thought is cold and clean and perfect in its terror. It cuts through the fog of confusion. An accident is chaos. An attack is malice. But an order implies a system, a hierarchy, a consciousness behind the curtain, and you are not part of it. You are simply the object upon which it acts. On the Brigi, the herd instinct finally kicks in. It begins with a few brave, or perhaps foolish, souls. A man in a tailored suit, silhouetted against the dead sky, begins to walk. He doesn't run. He strides, as if late for a meeting he still believes matters. Then a young woman with a backpack follows. Then another family. Soon, it's a current, a slow, shuffling migration off the Steel Island. You join them, of course you do. What other choice is there? The Great Stall, as the pundits will eventually christen it with their usual flair for a dramatic understatement, has a sound. It is not the roar of panic. Not yet. It's the sound of 1,000 expensive shoes scraping on dirty asphalt. The rustle of jackets, the occasional jarringly loud cough that hangs in the wind. It's the sound of a civilization that has forgotten how to walk. Your car, your beautiful, silent, comfortable box, is now just another obstacle in the dark. You pass by open doors, catching glimpses of abandoned briefcases, a child's stuffed animal left on a seat, little artifacts of interrupted lives, and this is where you feel it. The cold, creeping math of the situation. Your phone has maybe 60% battery left. How long will that last? You have no water. The wind is picking up and your jacket is stylish, but it isn't warm. It's a city jacket made for this short, brutal journey between the climate-controlled car and the climate-controlled office. You're a good 20-minute drive from home. How far is that on foot? 5 miles? 6. Through the heart of a paralyzed city in the dark with thousands of other users. And then, just as a real tangible fear begins to crystallize, your phone buzzes in your pocket. Ite basis onis. A single, sharp, authoritative vibration. Around you, 1,000 other pockets buzz in unison. For a moment, the shuffling stops. The entire bridge is bathed in the ghostly white light of phone screens as people read the first official communication from the world that abandoned them. It's not an emergency alert. It's a push notification from the GMN, the Global Mobility Network, the company that runs the grid. The message is a masterpiece of corporate non-language. Grid Advisory, a network recalibration event, is in progress to ensure system stability and user security. Mobility services have been temporarily suspended in your sector. Please remain calm. This is a precautionary measure. Further instructions will follow. Read that again. The words. A recalibration event temporarily suspended. Precautionary measure. It's the language of a software update, not a citywide crisis. They haven't shut you down. They've just paused your subscription. You aren't a victim. You are a bug they are patching out of the system. This is the moment the true nature of your new reality slaps you in the face. It's not about some grand conspiracy. It's so much worse. It's about bureaucracy. It's about risk mitigation algorithms and automated stability protocols that calculated with cold digital certainty that the potential for a cascading grid failure was a fraction of a percent too high. And the solution was to strand millions of people in the dark. It wasn't a malicious act. It was just efficient. You look around at the faces lit by the glow of that message. The confusion is being replaced by a slow-burning anger, an impotent anger. Who do you yell at? An algorithm, a server farm in Iceland. A CEO who is probably sipping wine in a bunker with a closer kit power supply. Let's be honest with each other for a second. In a moment like this, who do you become? Do you help the elderly couple struggling to keep their balance in the wind? Do you share that half-empty bottle of water you have in your bag? Or do you pull up your hood, clutch your phone to your chest to save its battery, and just walk a little faster? You don't have to answer. I already know. We all do. The second notification arrives 20 minutes later as you're finally stepping off the bridge onto solid ground. The streets are just as dead. A sea of dark, useless cars. Recalibration update. For your safety, please proceed to the nearest designated civic center. Follow the illuminated directional beacons. Essential services, water, connectivity, and shelter are being provided. Your cooperation is essential for a swift network restoration. And as if on cue, a series of bright blue lights flicker to life. They're attached to lampposts, pointing the way. They're running on an independent power source. Of course, the system can't let you drive, but it can certainly tell you where to walk. It can herd you. The anger you felt a moment ago curdles into something colder. Resignation. You are being managed. You're unpredictable. Autonomous human behavior is a problem to be solved, a variable to be controlled. The city is no longer your home. It's a game board, and you are being moved square by square towards a designated endpoint. You start walking towards the blue lights, towards the promised water and shelter. You and everyone else. A silent, compliant river of people guided by the cold, indifferent glow of the network. The same network that holds your car, your job, your life, hostage. You are walking towards your new masters. Not because you trust them, but because they are the only ones left with the lights on. The blue lights don't lead you to a cozy school gymnasium or a community church basement. There are no volunteers handing out coffee and blankets. That's a fantasy from an older, more analog world. The lights guide you to the city's main convention center. You know, the building It's a monstrous, soul-crushing temple of glass and steel where corporations unveil new products and industries hold their annual self-congratulatory festivals. It's a place designed to make the individual feel insignificant, and tonight it is fulfilling its purpose. Perfectly, the entrance is a vast, echoing cavern of polished concrete. The air inside is thick and recycled. It smells of disinfectant, damp clothing, and the faint, unmistakable metallic tang of collective anxiety. Thousands of people are already here, moving in slow, silent lines that snake back and forth across the enormous hall. The acoustics of the space swallow all noise, reducing the murmur of the crowd to a dull, buzzing hum. The same hum the city used to have. How ironic. You are not entering a shelter. You are entering a processing facility. You're not in a line to be saved. You yin a data stream of biological packets waiting to be triaged by the server. There are figures in high visibility vests directing the flow, but they aren't police officers or National Guard. You see the logo on their chests as you get closer. The simple, elegant, terrifyingly familiar logo of the Global Mobility Network. You're not being rescued by the state. You're being processed by corporate customer service. The line moves with agonizing slowness. No one talks. Everyone is staring at their phones, desperately nursing the last few percentage points of their battery. The only sounds are the rhythmic, dispassionate beeps of scanners up ahead and the soft, shuffling feet of 1,000 strangers. There is no panic here. Panic would be a relief. This is something far worse. Mass compliance. Admit it. A small, dark, tired part of your brain is almost relieved. Isn't it? The gnawing uncertainty of the past few hours is gone. There is now a procedure. A clear set of instructions. Follow the line. Wait your turn. Do what you're told. The unbearable weight of personal choice has been lifted. You just have to be a good user. After what feels like an eternity, you reach the front. You're standing at a temporary folding table, the kind you see at a blood drive. Behind it sits a young woman who looks impossibly calm. She's not wearing a uniform, just a GMN vest over a black hoodie. She doesn't make eye contact. Her gaze is fixed on the tablet in front of her. She doesn't ask for your name. She doesn't ask if you're okay. She says one word, her voice flat and bored. ID. You don't have an ID. Not a physical one that matters. You hold up your phone, the screen displaying the QR code that serves as your universal identifier in this new world. She points a scanner at it. It beeps. On her tablet, your entire life flickers into existence. Not your memories, not your hopes, not your fears. Just your data. Your name, your address, your registered vehicle, your payment history, your social credit score, your travel logs for the past 5 years. You are a profile, a file to be updated. You're on the Amber Tier subscription, she says. Still not looking at you. Basic grid access. No priority routing. No auxiliary power guarantee. Her words are not an accusation. They are just a statement of fact. A diagnosis of your socioeconomic status. You don't know what to say. Thank you. I'm sorry. You just stand there, feeling the weight of 1,000 people pressing in behind you. She taps a few times on her screen. Your account is flagged. Unpaid civic ordinance. A littering fine from 2 years ago. 75 credits. You vaguely remember it. A coffee cup you dropped. A drone probably saw you. You never paid it. Why would you? It was just static, a piece of bureaucratic noise. But the system never forgets. The data is eternal. That needs to be settled before your account can be cleared for reactivation, she says. You can authorize payment now from your linked financial account. It's not a request. You nod. What else can you do? Argue with who? She's just an interface. A human captcha test. You press your thumb to your phone screen to authorize the payment. Another beep. Your fine is paid. Your digital soul is cleansed. Proceed to Zone 4, she says, pointing vaguely into the cavernous hall behind her. You'll be issued a standard resource pack. Another notification will be sent when the recalibration is complete. Next, you are dismissed. You walk away from the table, feeling strangely light, dehumanized. You are no longer a citizen in crisis. You are a customer who has just settled an overdue bill. You have successfully filed your support ticket. Zone 4 is just a section of the concrete floor marked off with tape. Another GMN employee hands you your resource pack. A silver Mylar blanket, a single bottle of water, and a dense, chalky nutrition bar. Your reward for compliance, you find a space on the floor between a family with a crying baby and an old man staring blankly at the ceiling. You sit down, the cold of the concrete seeping through your clothes. You are now officially and totally dependent on the GMN for warmth. For water, for information. Then your phone buzzes. One final, brutal message. System integrity update to ensure a secure and stable reactivation. All GMN accounts must be fully integrated. Please link your certified health and social IDs to your mobility profile now to join the priority reactivation queue. Accounts that are not fully federated by 6 o'clock UTC will be subject to a prolonged diagnostic review. It was never about the grid. It was never about a blackout. It's an audit, a data purge, a forced upgrade, and you have no choice but to accept the terms and conditions. It was always coming to this, wasn't it? You sit on the cold floor, your issued water bottle sweating a perfect circle of condensation beside you. You read the notification again. Please link your certified health and social IDs to your mobility profile now to join the priority reactivation queue. It's phrased as a polite request, an invitation to an upgrade, but you feel the cold, hard steel of the threat beneath it. Accounts that are not fully fed will be subject to a prolonged diagnostic review or a prolonged review. It's the bureaucratic equivalent of being thrown in a oubliette, a digital dungeon from which there is no escape. You understand what they're asking for. It's not just data, it's the keys to the last 2 rooms of your own house. Your health ID, that's everything. Your genetic predispositions, your mental health history. That one embarrassing diagnosis from your 20s, the prescriptions you take that nobody knows about. It's the raw, fragile, biological truth of you, locked away behind layers of medical privacy laws that you once thought were inviolable. And your social ID, that's the ghost you've built to navigate the world. Your employment history, your credit score, your network of contacts, your political affiliations, your search history, every comment, every late night scrolling purchase. It's the curated, carefully constructed mask you present to the world. And the Global Mobility Network wants to stitch them all together, to federate them, to create Juan Singo unified profile, the complete you, a perfect high resolution data clone that knows you better than you know yourself. Why? For safety, they'll say, to ensure drivers are medically fit to operate a vehicle. For efficiency, to better predict traffic flows based on social events. For personalization, to offer you curated travel experiences. But you and I, here in this quiet moment, we know the real reason, don't we? It's about insurance premiums. It's about targeted advertising. It's about predictive policing. It's about knowing with absolute certainty which users are high-risk, low-value assets and which ones are profitable, compliant nodes on the network. You look around the vast, echoing hall. The glow of thousands of phone screens has a new quality to it now. It's the light of 1,000 tiny, silent confessions. Most people don't even hesitate. You see them, a young woman taps her screen, then leans her head back against a concrete pillar and closes her eyes, a deep, weary sigh escaping her lips. The surrender is a relief. A man in a business suit does it with a grim finality, as if signing a contract he knows will ruin him, but the deal must be made. The social pressure is immense. It's a tidal wave. If everyone else is doing it, who are you to resist? What secret are you trying to protect that is so much more important than anyone else's? Your anxiety is no longer about the blackout. It's about your own non-compliance. You are becoming the problem. And then you see it. An old man, a few yards away, is arguing with one of the GMN employees, not shouting. His voice is a low, desperate plea. "I don't have a social ID," the old man says. "I never made one, and my health records are with my doctor on paper." The GMN employee, a young man who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else, just shakes his head slowly. His voice is a practiced, infuriating monotone. "Sir, I understand your frustration. but the protocol requires a fully federated digital ID for priority reactivation. It's an automated security measure. But how will I get home? The old man asks, his voice cracking. The employee points to a far, dark corner of the convention center, a place where the lights are dimmer, almost dead. You'll have to wait in the manual processing queue. Sir, we'll get to you when a human agent is available to verify your documents. It may take some time. You watch as the old man shuffles off towards the dark corner. He is not being punished. He is being archived. He is being rendered irrelevant by a system that has no protocol for his existence. He is a rounding error, and everyone watches him go. No one says a word. They just clutch their phones a little tighter. That's it. That's the choice. The well-lit, data-driven, fast-tracked queue with everyone else, or the cold, dark corner with the analog ghosts. Your thumb hovers over the screen, over the button that says Authorized Federation. Admit it, you'd press it, wouldn't you? Udu. Eat for the simple, desperate, human desire to just go home, to get back to your own bed. You'd make the trade. Your thumb descends. The glass is cold against your skin. A soft click, a gentle vibration, a message appears. Federation successful. Welcome, user ID 734B92817. You have been added to the priority reactivation queue. Thank you for your cooperation. You don't feel relieved, you feel indexed, as if a librarian just slapped a barcode onto your soul. And then a new sound fills the hall. A low, powerful thrumming. The main lights flicker, then swell to a brilliant, clean white. A ventilation system kicks in, circulating fresh, cool air. On the giant screens at the end of the hall, the GMN logo appears. The system is waking up, powered by a million tiny surrenders. Use arrow up and arrow down to select the turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. The reboot is instantaneous. It's not a slow, stuttering return to life. It's a flip of a switch. One moment, the convention center is a dimly lit cave of despair. The next, it's a monument to the grids, absolute power, bathed in a clean, humming, institutional white light. A collective sigh washes through the hall. 1,000 people who just moments ago were huddled on a concrete floor contemplating their own powerlessness now feel a surge of Pavlovian relief. The light is on. The server is back. God is in his heaven. On the massive screens, the GMN logo dissolves and is replaced with a soothing sans serif font. Recalibration complete. Thank you for your cooperation. Mobility services are now being restored in a phased, orderly manner. Please wait for your personal notification before proceeding to the designated exit bays. A phased release. Orderly, it sounds reasonable, responsible even, but as the first phones begin to chime, a new and terrible kind of order reveals itself. A young man in a sharp suit is the first to stand. He looks at his phone, a small, triumphant smile on his face. He walks with an unearned confidence towards the exit. A GMN employee with a handheld scanner meets him. The scan is quick. A green light flashes. Priority gold status. Exit bay 1. Sir, your vehicle is pre-cooled and waiting. Your route home has been cleared of all non-priority traffic. And there it is. The first gear of the new machine grinding into place. You watch him go. You feel a hot, ugly spike of envy. Not just because he is leaving and you are not, but because he has been judged by the system and found worthy, he is a better user than you. And the network is rewarding him for it. More chimes. More people stand. The ones with expensive watches and first-class travel histories. The ones whose federated health data shows a gym membership and a low resting heart rate. The ones whose social profiles are a pristine landscape of corporate promotions and network-approved political donations. They move in a smooth, confident stream towards the green lights of bays 1 through 5. They don't look at those of you still sitting on the floor. Why would they? You are no longer their peers. You are just traffic to be cleared from their path. The cynical joke of it all bubbles up in your throat. This isn't about getting society moving again. This is about getting the right parts of society moving first. It's an economic triage. The system isn't just it's optimizing itself. And the first thing it optimized was us. Admit it. A part of you, a deep reptilian part, isn't angry at the system. It's angry at the man in front of you who is checking his phone for the 10th time, whose anxiety is probably dropping his social score and holding up the queue for everyone else. We're all just one inconvenience away from becoming hall monitors for our own prison, aren't we? Finally, after another hour, your phone buzzes. A dull, low-priority vibration. Standard Federation status confirmed. Your vehicle is now active. Please proceed to exit Bay 12. Your designated route has been calculated for optimal grid performance and energy conservation. Delays are expected. You get up, your joints stiff from the cold floor. Bay 12 is at the far end of the hall, past the empty, echoing spaces where the priority user used to be. The line here is longer, slower. The GMN scanner doesn't flash green. It flashes a resigned, ambivalent yellow. Istanda Jitir, the employee mutters, waving you through without making eye contact. Stay on your assigned route. Speed will be limited to conserve grid resources. Any deviation will result in a temporary account suspension. You finally step out into the night air. It's cold and clean. The city is no longer dead. It is alive with that quiet, insectile hum again. Thousands of cars, their lights on, are pulling silently away from the convention center. But it's not a chaotic exodus. It's a perfectly choreographed ballet of data. The cars of the priority users flow effortlessly onto empty freeways. Your cars, the cars of the standard tier, are routed onto side streets, held at invisible intersections, forming long, slow, perfectly spaced lines. You find your car. It unlocks as you approach. You slide into the driver's seat. The dashboard glows to life with a new message. Welcome back. User 734B922-817. Your vehicle is operating under grid stability protocol. Manual override is disabled. Enjoy your safe and efficient journey home. You don't have to touch a thing. The car pulls out on its own, merging into the slow, yellow-lit procession. You are not driving. You are cargo. And as the car turns onto a congested street, another notification pops up on the screen. It's not from the GMN, it's from your health insurance provider. They've been busy to alert. You've detected elevated cortisol and heart rate levels for a prolonged period via your newly fed health ID. We're glad you're safe. As a proactive measure based on your updated risk profile, your monthly premium has been adjusted. Please accept the new terms to ensure uninterrupted coverage. The price for the ride home wasn't the 75 credit fine you paid. It was this. You stare at the accept button, glowing softly in the dark cabin. The car continues to glide forward, carrying you through a city that looks the same, but is forever a different world. A world that now knows the price of your fear. Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. You don't press the button. Not yet. You just stare at it, that softly glowing word on the screen. Accept. It's a demand, masquerading as a choice. A transaction you never agreed to, but from which you cannot walk away. The car glides silently through the darkened city, a perfect, compliant machine. And inside, your own biological machine is betraying you. Your racing heart, your stress, hormones are no longer your private experience. They are data points, liabilities, and a bill has been issued. The psychological horror of this moment isn't just the invasion of privacy. It's the sheer crushing mundanity of it. You haven't been arrested by a totalitarian state. You've been repriced by an algorithm. Your fear, your anxiety, your very human reaction to a crisis has been seamlessly integrated into your consumer profile. It's the ultimate form of emotional capitalism. The car continues its slow, automated journey. It's taking a strange route. Not the direct path home, but a winding, circuitous tours through quiet, residential streets. Optimal grid performance, the notification said. It's keeping you off the main arteries, saving that precious bandwidth for the priorities users. You are low-value data, a slow-moving packet to be routed around the super. So on one of these quiet streets, under the flickering amber light of a single lonely street lamp, that you see him. He's standing on the corner, the old man from the convention center, the one with the paper records, the one who was sent to the dark corner of the manual processing queue. He's not waiting for a car, he's just standing there, lost. His face is a crumpled map of exhaustion and confusion. The great, silent, intelligent city has rebooted, but he was not part of the update. He is a ghost, a piece of deprecated hardware left behind by the new operating system. And as your car approaches the intersection, something impossible happens. The system hesitates. Your car, which has been moving with such unnerving smoothness, suddenly stutters. It slows, then stops 20 feet from the crosswalk. The dashboard, your only source of information, remains blankly serene. No error message. No warning. Just a pause. What are you feeling right now? Annoyance, pity, or a sliver of that cold reptilian thing again? The thought that this man, this obstacle, is now delaying your journey home. Be honest, then you notice it. The streetlights are behaving strangely. They're flickering in an odd, rhythmic pattern. Not a random flicker of a faulty bulb, but a deliberate pulse. Short, long, short, code. And across the street, in the darkened window of a second-story apartment, you see a faint, corresponding glow. A blue light pulsing back in the same sequence. Your heart, the one that just cost you an insurance hike, gives a painful thud in your chest. You are witnessing something you are not supposed to see. A conversation. A hidden signal passing through the dead spaces of the official network. This isn't a glitch in the system. This is an entirely different system running in its shadows. Suddenly, the side door of your car unlocks. A soft, gentle click. The dashboard remains silent. No command was issued. The GMN system is still in control, still waiting for the intersection to clear. But that click, that was something else. An invitation. From who? For what? The old man on the corner hasn't moved. The blue light in the window continues its silent, rhythmic pulse. The car is still. The door is unlocked. The world holds its breath. This is the real choice, isn't it? The one that matters. Not the buttons on a screen, not the terms and conditions. But this, right now, do you stay in your seat? Do you remain a good user, a compliant node in the perfectly managed, perfectly soulless grid? Do you wait for the system to correct itself to route you around this inconvenient analog man and deliver you safely to your quiet, mortgaged home? Do you pretend you saw nothing? Or do you open the door? Do you step out of your sanitized, data-tracked cage and into the unscripted night? Do you walk towards the ghost on the corner? What would you even say? What help could you possibly offer? It's not a choice between safety and danger. It's a choice between the network and the human, between the clean, cold certainty of the algorithm and the messy, unpredictable, terrifying reality of a stranger's face in the dark. The terror isn't that you might be punished by the GMN for deviating from your route. The terror is that you might be choosing to become as irrelevant as the man on the corner, to willingly unplug, to become a ghost yourself. The door is unlocked. The blue light is pulsing. The old man is waiting. What do you do? Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. You don't think? You can't. To think is to calculate risk, two-way consequences, to access the federated profile in your head that has been trained to be a good, compliant user. And that profile is screaming at you, a silent, high-frequency alarm, warning you against the sheer, suicidal stupidity of what he about to do. Deviation will result in temporary account suspension. Your updated risk profile has been noted. Stay on your assigned route, but your hand is already on the door handle. It's an act of pure, irrational, biological instinct, a rebellion of nerve and muscle against the tyranny of the network. You push the door open. The quiet, climate-controlled world of the car is breached. The cold night air rushes in, carrying the smells of damp asphalt and distant rain. It smells hayao. Stepping out of the car feels like stepping off a cliff. For a moment, you are nothing. a blind spot, an error in the data stream. Your vehicle, your silent, intelligent cage immediately registers your absence. Its interior lights dim. The door closes with a soft, final thud behind you, as if sealing you out forever. You turn back to look at it, and for a horrifying second, you see your own reflection in the dark glass, a lonely, featureless silhouette against the flickering streetlights. You've just performed a manual override on your own life. You turn towards the old man. The 20 feet of empty street between you feels like a vast, uncharted wilderness. He hasn't moved. He just watches you approach, his expression unreadable in the dim light. He's not afraid. He's just waiting, as if he knew you were coming. "Are you all right?" you ask. The words sound ridiculous, loud and clumsy in the profound silence. The old man doesn't answer. Instead, he tilts his head, ever so slightly, towards the dark apartment window above him. Blue light is still pulsing. Short, long, short. You look back at your car. It's dark. Dead to you now. A tomb of polished metal and silicon. The thought of getting home, of your bed, of your life, feels like a memory from a different century. You've made your choice. You've stepped off the grid, and the silence that greets you is the sound of your previous identity being erased. "He's with me," a voice says. The voice comes from the darkened doorway of the apartment building. A young woman steps out of the shadows. She's the one from the convention center, the GMN employee in the black hoodie who scanned your ID, but her high visibility vest is gone. Her face, which was a mask of bored indifference just hours ago, is now sharp, alert, alive. What's happening? You ask, the question a weak puff of air. "You saw the signal," she says. It's not a question, it's an acknowledgement. Most people don't. They're trained not to. Their cars just filter it out, cheap perceptual static, but you're just paused. That's rare. Means your base firmware is older. Less. Patch C, speaking a language you don't understand, but the meaning is terrifyingly clear. You are a glitch, a desirable flaw in the system. You can't be scanned, she says, nodding towards the old man. No federated ID in the eyes of the network. He doesn't exist. So he's invisible. A ghost. We use ghosts to move between the servers. Admit it. You want to turn and run back to the car. You want to bang on the window and beg the cold, silent machine to take you back. This is not your fight. You are not a hero. You are just a standard tier user who made a stupid, sentimental mistake. But it's too late. The choice was made the moment you opened the door. "Come on," she says, turning back towards the dark doorway. "The car will be flagged and bricked in the next 90 seconds. You can't stay here." You hesitate for a fraction of a second. A lifetime. You look at your car one last time. It represents your entire life, your job, your mortgage, your carefully constructed, digitally verified existence, and you are about to walk away from it into a dark hallway with a corporate drone, a ghost, and a pulsing blue light. The old man turns to you, and for the first time, he speaks. His voice is quiet, but clear. "They can have the car," he says. "They can't have the road." That's it. That's the line that breaks you. The simple, profound, analog truth of it. You follow them into the darkness of the building. The door closes behind you, and the last thing you hear from the street is the sound of your own car's alarm beginning to blare. A flat, synthetic shriek, calling out for an authority that will no longer recognize you as its own. You are no longer a user in good standing. You are a piece of corrupted data, and you are about to be scrubbed from the system. The hallway smells of dust, damp plaster, and fried onions. It's the smell of old, unnetworked life. The only light comes from a single, bare bulb dangling from a frayed wire. It paints everything in a sickly, yellow-gray light. This isn't a hidden revolutionary base from a movie. This is just a cheap, forgotten apartment building. A dead zone. A perfect place to hide. The woman sheets tells you her name is Anya, leads you up a flight of creaking stairs. The old man follows, his footsteps slow and steady. There's a quiet dignity to him now. In the convention center, he was a victim. Here, in the shadows, he seems essential. "I'm not a freedom fighter," Anya says, as if reading your mind. Her voice is low, echoing in the narrow stairwell. I was on the team that wrote the stability protocols. I helped build the cage. You look at the back of her head, the dark hair pulled into a tight bun. You're climbing the stairs of a crumbling building with one of the architects of your digital prison. The irony is so thick it feels like you could choke on it. We built in back doors, she continues. Diagnostic tools, manual overrides for the engineers. We never thought they'd use a routine recalibration event to execute a mandatory data merger. They locked us out. All of us. The psychological vertigo is nauseating. You thought you were witnessing the system working perfectly. You were actually witnessing a corporate coup executed in the silent, invisible language of code. The Great Stall wasn't a glitch. It was a hostile takeover of the grid's operating system. And you and millions of others were just the pawns in the game. So what is this? You ask, your voice a whisper. The resistance. Anya lets out a short, bitter laugh. This is tech support. The ones who got locked out are trying to get back in. And the ghosts, people like him, she nods back at the old man, the unscannable, the undocumented. They're our root access. The system can't see them, so it can't track them. They can walk where the network's eyes are blind. They reach the second floor. She stops at a door marked to be. It has 3 different ancient locks on it. She opens them with a set of real, physical, metal keys. The sound of the tumblers turning is shockingly loud. The apartment inside is a chaotic labyrinth of technology, but it's not the sleek, wireless, minimalist tech of the world you just left. This is something else entirely. It's a graveyard of old machines. Thick, heavy cables snake across the floor like tripwires. Towers of beige box computers hum and click. Their fans worry loudly. Green and amber text scrolls endlessly down black screens. The air is hot and smells of ozone and melting plastic. It's the analog backbone of a digital ghost world. A dozen people are hunched over keyboards, their faces illuminated by the glow of monochrome monitors. They look up as you enter, their eyes tired but intense. No one smiles, no one says hello. They just register your presence, a new piece of data, and turn back to their work. This is the messy, ugly, unglamorous truth of rebellion. It's not about heroic speeches. It's about rerouting IP addresses through proxy servers. It's about cracking encryption keys. It's about drinking stale coffee at 4 in the morning while staring at a command line. You thought you were scared on the bridge. You thought you were scared in the convention center. But that was a clean, managed fear. The anxiety of a user. This is a different kind of terror. This is the fear of agency. The raw, visceral dread of having a choice that actually matters. Anya leads you to a screen. On it is a map of the city. It's not the smooth, elegant GMN map. It's a frantic, jagged thing, covered in lines and symbols. Thousands of red dots represent stalled, bricked vehicles. A few hundred green lines show the priority users flowing smoothly along their protected routes. And then there are the blue pulses, dozens of them scattered across the city, like the one you saw in the window. That's us, Anya says, pointing to the pulses. The old ham radio networks, pager frequencies, defunct broadcast channels. We're running a mesh network through the city's technological scar tissue. It's slow, it's ugly. But the grid can't see it, and it can't shut it down. She types a command, a new dot appears on the map. A blinking red cursor right where your car is, labeled rogue user _734 benign 2817 flag suspension protocol initiated. That's you, she says, her voice flat. They're walling you off, deleting your network credentials. By morning, as far as the official world is concerned, you won't exist. The screen is a digital obituary, and you are watching it being written in real time. You backed the wrong horse in a war you didn't even know was happening. And now your whole life, your whole identity is about to be, well, what's the corporate term for it? Sunset had admit it. A part of you wants to scream, to beg them to undo it, to tell them it was all a mistake, that you'll be a good user, that you'll accept the new insurance premium. You'll accept anything, but you can't. You can't go back. You stepped out of the car. Anya looks at you, her eyes reflecting the scrolling green code. They took your car, she says. They took your ID. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. The question hangs in the hot, static-filled air of the room. What are you going to do about it? It's the most terrifying question anyone has ever asked you, because for your entire life, the system has answered it for you. What do you do when you're hungry? You are served an ad for a delivery service. What do you do when you're lonely? You are prompted to connect with a suggested friend. What do you do when your car is bricked and your identity is being systematically erased by a multinational corporation? There is no app for this. There is no notification. There is no customer service line. You look around the room at the faces of the locked out, the network ghosts, the digital janitors of a forgotten internet. They are not an army. They are a collection of glitches. People who, by choice or by accident, failed to federate, failed to comply, failed to update. They are the human rounding errors. And they are the only hope you have left. The terror of the last 12 hours has been a rising tide. The silence of the bridge, the cold floor of the convention center, the soulless compliance, the automated repricing of your own fear. But this is the wave that finally breaks over your head. The true, absolute, psychological horror isn't the power of the system. It's the burden of your own individual, untracked, unprompted, terrifying freedom. You can stay here. You can learn to live in the shadows of the network, to become a ghost yourself. You could learn to navigate the city by the pulsing blue lights, to trade in whispers and favors, to exist in the margins. It would be a life, a hard, precarious, analog life. A life of perpetual hiding. Or you can do something else, something insane, something the system, in all its cold, predictive algorithmic certainty, would never see coming. Can you get me back into my car? You ask. Your voice is a dry whisper. Anya looks at you, a flicker of something surprise. Respect crosses her face. Get you back in. Why? They'll just shut it down again. They'll dispatch a drone to tow it to an impound lot. They'll blacklist your biometrics. You'll never be able to even sit in a networked vehicle again. You said my car's firmware was old. You say, the idea of forming as you speak, a desperate, impossible gamble. Less patched. You said that SYE hesitated. Why? I could see the signal. Anya's eyes narrow. The other people in the room are starting to turn from their screens. You have their attention now. You are no longer just a lost user. You are a variable they have not yet calculated. Its core OS is still on a legacy build, she concedes. The Federation update was pushed to the user profile level, not the vehicle's route hardware. It creates a latency, a window of a few milliseconds between a user command and a network verification. Can you give me the key? You ask, not the user license. The real key, the engineer's key, the root access. For the first time, there is a dead silence in the room. Even the humming of the old computers seems to fade. They all know what you hear asking for. It's not about stealing a car. It's about hijacking a node. It's about turning a single, compliant, bricked vehicle into a weapon. Anya walks over to a different terminal, one that looks older and more heavily fortified than the others. She types for a full minute, her fingers flying across the keyboard. Lines of code cascade down the screen. Finally, she looks back at you. This will not make you a ghost, she says, her voice low and grave. This will make you a target, the brightest red dot on their entire map. They will hunt you, not with automated notifications, with physical assets. You ask me what I was going to do about it. You say, your voice steadier now. Your fear is still there, a cold, hard knot in your stomach. But for the first time, it's not a paralyzing fear. It's a fuel. She nods slowly. I can give you 30 seconds of manual control. Once you're inside the car, you will be the only authority the vehicle recognizes. It will be a closed system. No network, no GPS, No communication. You will be completely, totally alone, blind. She hands you a small, battered-looking device. It looks like an old USB stick. Plug this into the maintenance port under the dash. The rest is up to you. You take it. It feels heavy. The key to your own cage. What are you now? You are no longer user 734B928117. You are not a citizen. You are not a customer. You are a divergence point. A ghost who has decided to learn how to drive. The ending of your story hasn't been written yet. It's not an automated update pushed from a server. It's a blank screen, a dark, unknown road. It ends here, in this room, with a choice to fade into the static or to become the signal to be hunted or to be herded. They took your car. They took your name. They took your data, but in their perfect, frictionless, centralized system, they made one critical human error. They left you with a choice. And a full tank of gas was never a promise of freedom, but a fully charged battery, a closed circuit system, and a desperate, illogical human will to simply move. What could be more free and more terrifying than that? Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat.